was born in Mount Clemens, Michigan, and was there just for a brief moment, and moved to Texas. And then from there, short time even in Texas, moved to California. Moved here originally to Los Angeles before we moved to Compton, which is where we spent most of our years. I have two older sisters, Cheryl and Marcia. Marcia being my oldest sister. And then I have a younger brother, Terry. That's 2 years younger than me. And we all had the same kind of upbringing. You know, our neighborhood at that time was just a bunch of families that we just all got along. Even though you were from this block or that block, it was just, how could I say, it was just peaceful. Were there gangs around? Yes, but they were neighborhood gangs. In other words, if you were from this neighborhood, you had nothing to be concerned about. And back then it was just about kind of taking care of your own turf. So we didn't have any issues at all. We could just live life, be young people, and, you know, play ball and do the things we love to do. We moved over to South Chester Street in Compton from Spring Street.
Okay.
And right away, I'm looking to make new friends. So I'm walking up and down the street. I hear guys playing basketball in the driveway, and I stop, look over.
So Mike would walk across past my house on the other side. I'd be in the back, and I would see him. And every time Mike would walk by, he stopped and looked back there. He stopped and looked. So one day I timed it where I could catch him walking by, and I went to the edge of the door. I said, "Hey man, you wanna shoot?" And he looked kind of. He said, "Yeah, I'll shoot." And he came over, and then from that time forward, we was like brothers. And Mike would start coming over, and eventually he would be in the yard back there for every Saturday morning. He would be there before the birds start chirping. I'd hear the ball bouncing in the backyard, look out the window, Mike shooting.
Mr. and Mrs. Hammond were awesome neighbors, and you know, we were young guys, and sports was our thing, and we were playing flag football, but ultimately we'd land in the Hammond's driveway.
Eventually we developed such a close relationship that I asked my parents one day, I said, "Is it okay if Mike come in the back when I'm not there?" And my dad said, "Sure, anytime he want to shoot, tell him he could shoot." So that was all Mike needed to know. Sometime I'd come home from school, Mike be in the back, shooting, waiting on me.
Luders Park was my home park. So signed up there, and they got back to us and said that it was full. Didn't have any more slots for us to play in. So they said they transferred our paperwork over to Gonzalez Park. Gonzalez Park was on the other side of Compton. And I received a call one evening from Coach Henry saying that we had practice on Tuesday and Thursday. So, okay, great, Coach, I'll be there. But I told him, Coach, I may be a little late because I don't have a ride. Coach Henry, he would pick me up to go to practice from right at Rosecrans in Santa Fe. I'd end up, this Jack in the Box was the original Jack in the Box was here, and that was the pickup point at that bus stop right there on Rosecrans. And he would drive me down to practice, and we would have some of the best conversations. That man would speak wisdom into me. He taught me how to respect, first of all, my parents, but then just be respectful overall. And I just owe him so much. Have never been able to tell him thank you But I just hope some kind of way he knew the impact that he had not only on my life, but he was that for all of us young guys.
Mike's mother would invite me over. She knew my parents. We all knew each other. You know, we were a true village. And to this day, I can never think of a moment when Mike and I ever had a malice feeling toward each other. Never. Even though when I would beat him in different things, competition, he would get angry, but we always came back like we loved each other like brothers. And Mike was my guy.
We would play flag football in the street here, and it was block against block, neighborhood against neighborhood, and we'd play from pole to pole. This light pole right here to that light pole down there was the goal lines. And one day, I'll never forget this. I'm going out for a pass, and it was right about in front of my mother's house where this black car is. I'm looking up to catch the ball, and I'm forgetting there was a car there. And as I'm going up, I hit I'm looking for the pass, and I hit the tail end of the car square on. Never caught the pass, never caught anything. I get up off the ground and run into the backyard and hit that back door and never came back out until a day or two.
Mike and I first got to know each other where he lived on a street called Chester. We lived on a street called Willow in Compton. And in between both of us was a grammar school, Catholic grammar school called Our Lady of Victory. And that's where everyone in the neighborhood would go play. We'd play pickup, sometimes we'd play baseball there even though it was asphalt. You know, we played touch football. For the most part, we'd play basketball. Mike could shoot the basketball, and then we didn't see him. I didn't see him for about 2 years. I transferred to Pius X High School, and that's where he was already attending. And I saw him again for the first time and saw him play, and I was envious because he had developed a jump shot. He had a jump shot. When you were younger, we were shooting sets, but he had already figured out how to shoot a jump shot, and it was a nice looking shot. I'm like, wow.
While I was at Pius X, I see this young lady walking by, and day after day, and you know, I'm taking a liking to her.
He found out my name was Rebecca, but everybody called me Becky, and he thought that was the funniest thing because he had never met a black girl named Becky. So he thought that was too funny. So he passed my locker and say, "Hi, Becky," and just laugh, right?
Eventually, I approached her, and we started talking casually, and before long, we were boyfriend, girlfriend.
We started off talking at 14, and we ended up, dating at 15, as much as we could, because at 6, I couldn't go out on a date until I was 16. Something about 16 is magical. For my 16th birthday, he got to take me out to dinner.
We used to play in a summer league over at St. John Bosco High School in Bellflower, and Dominguez was in that same summer league there. And I remember some of the guys from the neighborhood, saying, "Hey, why don't you come on back to your home school?" I kind of thought about that, and I ended up talking to the high school coach over there, Coach Carr, and I decided to make the move back to Dominguez. Well, the biggest difference was that I knew a lot of people. They were neighborhood people. And so on the team there, I got guys that I went to elementary school, middle school with, and the rivalry was Linwood High School. I recall one game, Linwood came to our school, and they beat us. And gym is packed because that's the rivalry game there, Friday evening. And I recall their bus being rocked. I'm thinking this thing is going to turn over. And so they finally got out of there. And when we went to their school, it was that same kind of intensity. So great rivalry. I go to Victor Valley College, play ball, go to school, and Becky goes in a different direction, San Jose State.
I think that was the best decision of my life when I decided to go ahead and go away to school because, I was, 17 years old. I had been with Mike by then for 2 years, and, he had decided that he was going to go to Victor Valley College, which was only, like an hour and a half, couple hours away. But I needed to explore. I was only 17. And our relationship was real intense. And so he didn't take it really well.
There was 3 of us that Coach Carr set us up to go to Victor Valley Junior College. And we were supposed to be set up with jobs, and we had an apartment to stay in with another young man from out there. And all of that happened. Except the jobs. So we get out there and we are literally hungry. For the first time in my life, I'm hungry. And I'll never forget, one of the guys had a Chevy Vega, and we'd all cram in that little Vega to go to class and get back, and the heat went out and the apartment we couldn't afford. It was something else. More difficult for me than her. She's at this university, and I'm hearing that she's just having the time of her life, and I'm over here in the desert hungry. So I'd make my way to that phone booth to call to check on her. Are you just enjoying life that much without me? But anyway, we did that for that year, and I came back, and ultimately, Becky came back, and she transferred to Cal State Dominguez Hills. So that summer, I got on the bus, went up to Long Beach City College, and met with the coach. And Coach Frazier was his name, legendary coach over there. So anyway, I go in his office, and I tell him, I said, "Coach, I want to play for you here. I got one more year of eligibility." He said, "Well, where do you live?" I said, "I live in Compton." And he was very frank with, "Well, why don't you go to Compton?" And I told him, I'd rather be here, program that has some structure. And so his response was, I can't tell you that you can't come and try out, but I can tell you this, I get my ball players from the Long Beach area. So I said, "Well, okay, I got it. I'm going to try out." So I get my classes, and I try out for the team. And after getting in probably the best shape of my life to make this team, I get out there, show up for tryouts, and there's 40 guys out there, and I ended up being one of the 15 on the roster. Well, I did everything I could to make the team, first of all, being an outsider. So I was really grateful for that. And now it's time to get on the floor. And there was a freshman guard came in, Steve Griffin. Never forget Steve. Outstanding ball player. And literally, he was the best point guard on the team, hands down. So I played, but didn't get the minutes that I would have liked to have gotten. But that was pretty much it. That ended my playing days right there. No recruitment. And I didn't have anybody to help guide me on how I could get to the next level to play for university. So my ball playing days, I thought, ended right there. After my time at Long Beach City College, I got a job working at the Compton Unified School District. I was in their security department. Shortly after that, Becky and I got married, and then little Mike came. So now I got this family and working, and we're doing our thing. And shortly after that, I joined the Los Angeles Police Department in March of '84, and did my training. And once I got out to do the field work, now I'm the day-to-day police work, I was told, hey, listen, man, you keep talking about basketball or whatever, and hey, we got teams here. You may want to go and try out. So I inquire, and ultimately end up being on one of the teams, and played for a couple of seasons, and then they asked me to coach, because I was kind of coaching anyway. We didn't have an official coach, so it was kind of like a player coach the whole time. And that's when my coaching, basketball-wise, kicked in. And I got the bug. Just figured this is something I would love to do. I coached my son, Michael, along with a couple other fathers coaching their son on the same T-ball team. And I believe Michael must have been maybe, T-ball's like 5, 6, right in there. And then we moved up to the minor division, and still coaching him. And at that point, basketball kind of took over. That was something that he found that he loved to do, and obviously I loved for him to do it. And so I started coaching him at Weingart YMCA. And then from there, we established an AAU team. There was a coaching colleague of mine, Andre Hazel, Coach Hazel. We were coaching at Weingart YMCA, and we finally decided, we had reached our peak there, so we put together an AAU team.
When Coach and I started, everyone went. It was like, oh, Diamond, who are the Diamonds? Who are the Diamonds? Who? Mike Lynch, okay, Andre Hazel, who the heck is Andre Hazel? But we bringing these players in, and we were always being the bottom seed, and we're always winning the tournament. Like, who is this?
Us not being one of those sponsored teams, I never forget our first tournament, we wore our Weingart jerseys. And so, but we were determined. He had his son on the team, my son was on the team, and we became very good.
As we began the AAU team, my dad was really his picking of players and asking players to play with us. You could tell he kind of went for the ones that he saw had potential, but wasn't, didn't get as big as notice as some other players. He never kind of went after a player that everybody was after. It would be that one player that everybody thought was good, but he could tell that he could get a little bit more out of him.
Sometimes we thought we were going to get in the tournament. They didn't have the room for us. Oh, we knew what was going on. But at the end of the day, Diamonds in the rough got a name out there.
Here's this kind of, I don't want to say ragtag, but ragtag type team. And we were raising our own funds for tournaments, and never had so many barbecue sales and fish fries and the car washes, everything we could do to make it happen. But we were very successful. This team was made up of basically who Coach Hazel and I were, underdog type guys. The big teams, the AAU clubs that had sponsorship, and they weren't really after these guys. And it made it challenging, but it was very rewarding because these guys ended up being successful and going to the nationals and competing and knocking off a whole bunch of those so-called big teams along the way.
On the next, Bigger Than Basketball.
First year here, we ended up with 8 players. The guys knew for practice to drag in 2 parking cones so that we could simulate 5-on-5.
So after they won the first CIF championship, he didn't know that there was even such a thing as the state playoffs.
So we got a call and then rushed, put the team back together to jump in the state playoffs. Won our first game, lost the second one, and from that point on, the goal was state championship.
Whoever was doing his book regularly couldn't do it, and he asked me to do it, and I was just like a natural at it, and I didn't know that was going to become a permanent lifetime until he decided to stop coaching things. Me and the refs, I tell my dad all the time, since he was the coach, there was only so much he could say. So my job was to say everything he couldn't say to the refs, because they weren't gonna kick me out the game. That was just my thing. If I can get in that ref's head, bring a little attention, give him, not enough though that he hated my dad, just enough to make sure he called an extra foul.